What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today I am going to be talking on a subject I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and that is community parenting. So, I hope everybody out there is doing well, and we're getting close to cozy season. I can finally bust out the my Fire Force Benny Maru hoodie, one of my favorite pieces of merch in my collection. So it's starting to get a little bit chilly outside. So perfect time to bust this out and for us to talk. So as always, if this is your first time here, then welcome. But if you're a returning listener and or watcher, then welcome back. Y'all know here at Dad Needs to Talk, it's all about fatherhood and family, manga, anime, TV shows, movies, and some video games. So, like I said, today I am going to be talking on community parenting, um, just in general, because I know I enjoy doing episodes every now and then where I just talk about just general life and family stuff. And I know a lot of y'all also enjoy these episodes as well, because I'm probably not going to touch on much stuff that I've been watching, reading, playing, maybe, but this is more so just a general conversation. So let's dive in. So, community parenting is it is something that right now, especially at the stage that my family is, it is like a core aspect of our day-to-day lives. And I think a lot of that, speaking for myself, just comes from being thankful and grateful for the help and stuff that friends and family and stuff gave to me and my mother um, growing up. And so I think I try to do my best to carry that stuff forward and to pass it on to the next generation and to other families and stuff as well. And I guess just for context, what I mean when I say the term community parenting, it is kind of like that old phrase of it takes a village to raise a child, so to speak, because especially nowadays with so much stuff going on, a lot of us having to work all type of crazy hours and stuff, and being a parent on top of that, especially when you start getting to the point of not just having a child, but having multiple kids, like with my family. In case you're coming across this for the first time, I'm married. I have 5 kids, 3 boys and twin girls. Um, my boys are ages 16, 11, and 6, and my daughters are 14. So, just for context of, in case somebody new is coming here, just uh, the structure of my family and things of that nature. So, and a lot of y'all know I talk about all the time in all my episodes and stuff about, my 3 older kids, they do sports all year round, basketball, track, so on and so forth. And so with them three doing stuff all year round and then still also having 2 younger kids, we stay fairly busy all the time. And if it wasn't for on both sides of things, there are times where me and my wife need help, and then there are plenty of times where we help others. But I feel like we wouldn't be able to do what we do if it was just a single person. And so that's why I do my best to, like I said, pay it forward because I know even growing up, like my mom, we didn't have a car and stuff growing up. And so most places in town, we walked to the store or walked where we needed to get to, or we, asked for a family member or a friend to give us a ride, and they do it on their schedule and stuff. And I'll always remember. This has been many, many years ago now, probably about 10 years ago now. Um, when I was graduating college, I went back home to visit my hometown for a little bit before I walked across the stage and then moved up here to Dallas. I went back home, and as I'm driving through my neighborhood, I saw a young man, I saw a kid walking, and I recognized him. when I had left some years before I went out to college, he was an itty bitty kid, maybe even, I don't even know if he was barely a preteen by then. But so he was walking, trying to get where he was going. I recognized him, so I, pulled up alongside him, like, "Hey, what's up?" Said his name, reminded him who I was. I'm like, "Hey, where you trying to go to?" And he told me, "Hey, he was just trying to get to the house, either to the house, to the store, where he was trying to go." I offer him a ride, save him a trip, whatever, and just to repay that kindness, because I just remember years ago I was in the same position, you know. And so going back to present day now, me and my wife do our best to obviously work as a team in order to tackle everything that we have going on in our home. And thankfully, things kind of worked out. A benefit of a recent situation that I talked about on a previous episode, where my wife's grandmother had to move in with us a couple months ago. While that, of course, took some adjustments for everybody in the house, there have also been some wonderful benefits to that, because it's just in the simple fact of having another adult in the house that can kind of like man the fort, so to speak, while me and my wife are out and about tackling stuff, whatever. It kind of cuts down on, she helps out majorly with the cooking and upkeep of the house, and with the kids' laundry and stuff, just different little things that, we would normally try to squeeze in and do, um, you know, as we could. But now that kind of is like a weight, or a couple of weights lifted off of our shoulders. And so, with that being said, like I said, I'm grateful to, for one, I guess I'll say it this way, because I know I'm kind of rambling all over the place, but that my kids recognize that we are willing to help. And while sometimes it can be an inconvenience, or, blindside us or whatever, we all try to do our best to help out our kids, friends, and stuff like that. Because one thing I try to stress to my kids, and just other people in general, is to not judge a book by its cover, and to kind of do your research, or just try to ask questions, find out stuff about a person or a situation before you make assumptions and stuff. Because, and like I said, forgive me for kind of just going all over the place, but I'm saying that to say, just a prime example. One of my kids has a friend who, he's the youngest of a bunch of siblings, youngest kid still in the house, um, single mother to my knowledge, but she works all the time. And so, while of course she's able to provide financially and things of that nature, like, the kid can get, if he ever needs anything, whatever, his mama can buy it or whatever, but she might not always be able to go to his games, or take him out to do different things, or things of that nature or whatever. And I'm happy that, for one, my my son has a good relationship with his friend, and that he also trusts us as a family to be a safe space, to be as a safe haven. Because, this is a kid, I've known for a few years now. He's, at our house pretty often, or he was at a point in time, and I never really thought nothing about it. It was just, oh, okay, he's here, hey, what's up, how you doing, blah blah blah. But just as time has gone on, especially in this last year, I've gotten a chance to learn more about him, his backstory, and stuff like that. Because a lot of times, with a lot of my kids' friends, my wife is more familiar with their life situations and their parents and stuff, whatever, than I am. But I got to kind of got a chance to get a little bit more insight into his situation and stuff, and it kind of makes sense to where, okay, why he would be over hanging out a lot of times and stuff, just because, okay, what kid would want to just be at home by themselves, more often than not. Even myself growing up, my mom had to work and stuff, and there'll be a lot of times where I grew up, at home by myself, as I'm also the youngest of my siblings, because, as I've mentioned before, My sister is 13 years older than me. My brother is 16 years older than me. I have nieces and nephews that are closer in age to me than my brother and sister is. And so I understand what it's like to be that child. And I also had friends growing up who were in different situations and they found my home as a safe haven. And like I said, there are times to where it's like, man, I wish, I had more. I wish I had a bigger house and yada, yada, yada. But looking at my life situation compared to some other person's situation where it's like, you know what? Things aren't as bad or as dire as what they could be. And I try to, remain appreciative of those things. But like I said, of my son's friend, it's just a reminder and why a lot of times, not just him, but some of my other kids' friends, even though I might be dog tired, but if my kids be like, hey, so and so is stuck somewhere and they need a ride home, then come hell or high water, if it's within my ability to do so, I will get up and go get this person, get this kid home safely. Just because I would want the same for my kids if there are situations which there have been, where me and my wife are both in separate locations and somebody else needs to ride home or whatever. I'm glad that over the years we have built up trust in other parents and stuff that we can trust. Okay, Mr. So and so or Mrs. So and so will get my kid home safely. Or if they go to different events or whatever, it's like, okay, well, so and so's parent is going to be there. Okay, cool. I don't have to stress as much because I know somebody, an adult that I know, will also be there to kind of help keep a watch. But yeah, like I said, with my kid's friend, there's times where they need a ride somewhere or just want to come and hang out and different things like that, and I'm happy to be that person. And I'm happy that, or I should say, I try to make sure that my kids' friends understand that and feel comfortable enough to where if they ever are in a situation and my kids might not be around, but it's just me and them, that if they need help or whatever, then they can come to Mr. Rob or Mr. Robert for help. Because even though for the most part, most of the time, whenever I'm dealing with any of my kids' friends, 98, 99% of the time, I'll bring whichever one of my kids' friend it is, I'll bring them with me. Just because for one, it kind of like eases the tension of the situation or whatever sometimes. But of course, there are some times where I have given some of my kids' friends and stuff a ride home because I think it was a situation a year or two ago where I think my kids were staying after school for something, but my son needed me to bring either like his shoes or some money or something, whatever he needed. And so, I swung up to the school, whatever, to give my son what he needed. And then one of my daughter's friends was like, hey, Mr. Robert, I need a ride home. And my daughters weren't around or whatever. But I was like, you know what? Hey, come on. She lived literally down the street or whatever. Come on, I'll give you a ride home. And like I said, I want to make sure that, the kids feel comfortable enough being in that situation or whatever on both sides of it to where, like I said, they feel comfortable and that I also present myself in that manner because, like I said, just for um, ease and comfortability and stuff like that. So yeah, so like I said, that was a little bit of a ramble. I hope stuff I said makes sense, but like I said, just that is just something I've just been wanting to really speak on for a while, just because, like I said, it's something that's just like very important to me. And kind of just building off of that, kind of like the other side of that too, I want to mention too as well is at least like the way I handle it with my kids is I try to, or at least recently, I had to kind of at least like set some type of parameters and boundaries to where even though 9 times out of 10 if somebody asks for a ride or for help or whatever, I will do it. I will do it. It would have to be a very extreme situation where I would tell somebody just straight up, no, I'm not going to do it. But I had to have a conversation with my kids not that long ago about just respecting me, respecting my, my wife, their mother, and just respecting the process and stuff in general. And just basically don't always assume that we will be able to do something. We will be able to give somebody a ride home or to pick up or take somebody somewhere, yada, yada, yada. And so I basically had a conversation with them of just out of respect and just to cover all bases and to kind of give a heads up. When you text me or call me, hey, we're ready to be picked up from school, from practice, from the mall, whatever. At that time, if somebody needs a ride, ask. Even though more than likely I'm going to say yes, but still do the courtesy and respect of asking, just because that way, if I have something planned or if I'm on a time constraint, then I can factor that into my plans. Because if I get there, okay, I'm thinking, okay, cool, I'm going to run up there, pick them up, and come right back. That's maybe a 10, 15-minute trip or whatever, 20 minutes there and back, let's say. But because, okay, prime example, one of my kids' friends used to live in the same apartment complex as we did or whatever, just like down a few buildings or whatever. So that was like situations like that is always easy because it's like, you know what, we got to either pass by their home on the way to our house, or worst case scenario, they can just come to our house and then just walk, 2 buildings over or whatever. But one of my kids' friends moved on the other side of town. So what used to be, oh, you just ride home with us anyways because we're going the same direction too. Now I'm going 15 plus minutes in the whole opposite direction. That is definitely a thing where you definitely need to ask. So at least I have that in my mind of like, okay, I'm going to be gone a little bit longer than what I initially planned. So that is one thing, like I said, just if somebody out there is watching this, whatever, just something for you to be mindful of, whether if you're a child in the situation or if you're a parent in the situation or might be in the situation. These are things to just kind of at least just like put in your kids' minds of just respectfully just ask. Don't always assume mommy and daddy or grandma or Uncle Joe, whoever, are going to be able to give you a ride, give your friends a ride home just because they've done it maybe 100 times. Maybe this 101st time happens to fall on a day where I got an appointment I got to get to. So, and also for parents, respectfully, if you are on the receiving end of this, where it's not a one-off here and there situation, but if it's like a, hey, somebody is giving your child a ride home or taking them to run errands across town or whatever on a regular, consistent basis or whatever, try to pay that back in some way if possible, if it's within your means. And I say that just because, just be careful not to take advantage of a person's kindness and stuff. So, because like I said, at the end of the day, I'm going to do whatever I need to do for my kids and for their friends to get where they need to be safely. But if a situation, like I said, went from, okay, you live next door to us practically, to now you're 15, 20 minutes in the opposite direction or whatever, gas. Even if it's just like once every blue moon, hey, here's $10 or whatever. Thank you for taking care of my kid or getting them home safely on a constant basis. Keep that stuff in mind, like I said, if it's within your means, or even if it's just a simple thank you, will at least suffice, just because, like I said, you don't want, nobody wants to feel like they're being taken advantage of, because, like I said, in these situations, I do my best to not make the child feel guilty about having to ask and stuff like that or whatever, because it's not their fault. They don't have any control over their home or living situation and stuff. It's just like, hey, I'm just a kid, playing with the cards that I've been dealt, trying to make the best I can of it and stuff. So definitely for sure, try to be careful of making sure that the kid doesn't feel, responsible and stuff in a certain way, you know. So yeah, so hopefully that 20 minutes of rambling or so made sense to somebody out there. Cause yeah, like I said, obviously this is Dad Needs to Talk, and I have a lot of listeners and friends within the podcast community and stuff, whatever, that are either long term parents like I've been, or some of them have had a kid or two for the first time since I've been podcasting. And so I always like to just do these little special episodes every now and then to just try to impart just some general knowledge or situations that I've come across or that I've been in to hopefully, help somebody out there along the way. Because once again, this podcast in a way, I treat it like how, like I said, with this community parenting thing, to where that is one of the reasons why I started this podcast to share just my life, my experiences and stuff. And of course, I do have a lot of fun along the way talking about the manga I'm reading, the anime shows I'm watching, the movies I'm watching, the video games I'm playing, but at the core of it, I do also want to make sure that, I never forget the life part of things. Cause the world is crazy out there, and all type of crazy, suspicious things are going on. And so we definitely got to do our best to protect each other and to protect our kids and stuff as well. Because I know there are times, and once again, it's just like, man, just like not knowing what some of these kids' situations and stuff, whatever it is. But it's like there's been times where I've seen kids that like they're the same age as my son Vash, who is 6, you know, walking down the street by themselves, and I'm like, and it's like the way the street is laid out or whatever, you can clearly see there are no adults anywhere in sight, and it is like, man, I hope this kid gets where they need to go safely, especially like walking close to traffic and stuff, whatever like that. Like stuff like that is just always worries me. And even though we live around the corner from our kids' middle school, whatever. And there have been times, like super rarely, but there have been times where my kids might walk to school, or if there's like there's a football game going on right now, whatever, they might walk to the game or walk home after the game or whatever the case may be, whatever. But a lot of times I don't mind driving the 2 minutes around the corner to pick them up, just because while, like I said, sometimes it's annoying, sometimes you want to fuss and be like, man, just walk your butt home. But I am still, in the back of my mind, I'm grateful to be in a situation, in a position to where I can go and pick my kids up from their different things or whatever. Because even though, like Vash, he rides the bus or whatever, and he doesn't mind riding the bus. He enjoys just chilling on the bus or whatever. But every now and then, I'll leave work early and go pick him up from school, and that just brightens his day just to see Dad out there to pick him up from school and stuff. Or even like I say, even the little things where even when he rides the bus, whatever, and even if I'm already be home, whatever, I'll be there at the bus stop waiting for him or whatever. And it's like those little things, those little moments can go a long way. And speaking of that just like jogged my memory of supporting the kids and stuff, because so once again, one of my son's friends had a situation, and it was like honestly like bad timing on it, but like my daughters had a basketball tournament somewhere, so my wife is doing that. And then I think my son also might have had something somewhere, whatever. Well, my son's friend also had a tournament at a different location from everybody else, and he needed a ride. And so not only did I pick him up, get them up there to the tournament stuff, whatever. But I stay there to show support just because, you know, I've talked about it before. Me and my wife both grew up doing sports and stuff. We're both, athletes and stuff in our youth, and obviously our kids now do sports and stuff. And so me and my wife try to go to as many of our kids' activities as possible just because they just enjoy just having that support there. And I see it a lot of kids, especially as long as my kids have been doing this stuff, whatever. There are some kids that I've known 5+ years that I don't know if I've ever seen their parent, you know, or maybe I've seen them maybe once or twice here or there over the years just because of their work schedule and stuff, whatever, to where, the parent, they can at least afford to get the kid where they need to go to or get them enrolled in the sport or choir or whatever activity, but they can't physically go there and support them. And so I stayed there to support my son's friend. Just because, like I said, I know, to my knowledge, I don't know how much, if any, of his mom or older siblings or anything has ever been there at his basketball games, football, track, any of that or whatever. But I know that if he sees me, he sees my wife or anybody like that, then at least it might not be, it can never replace the feeling of his actual parent being there, but at least just being able to look up in the crowd and just see a familiar face there to support you can have a big impact. Because I knew growing up, my mom didn't get to go to much of my stuff, just because of a mix of just us not having a car and just health stuff or whatever as well. She wasn't able to get around and come to everything, but she got to come to at least maybe a couple of basketball games. And then I remember she got to come to at least one cross country meet. And that made my day, just knowing that she was there, courtside or there watching me run or whatever the case may be. But I will say for the parents who are on the flip side and can't make things whatever, it is okay. Like I said, sometimes we have to do what we have to do as parents to provide for our kids. Lord, sorry, my mic was muted. So like I was saying, uh, my wife and kids just got back from a parade, so the homecoming parade. So, anyway, like I was saying, sometimes if you're not able to go to things, whatever, it is okay because sometimes we have to do what we have to do in order to just provide and keep our household and stuff going. But just be there to support and show love when they come home. Because that was definitely one thing growing up that I always appreciated of my mother, to where even though she wasn't physically able to come to a lot of my stuff, she was my biggest champion. And as soon as I would come home, she would of course ask, "Hey, how did it go? How was the basketball game? How was the cross country meet? Whatever the case may be." And I always had a nice big plate of food there waiting for me. So that, you know, while like I said, she wasn't there, and I understood, especially as I got older in my later teens and stuff, whatever. I definitely understood. I'm a 14 through 18 or whatever. I understand the reality of my home situation or whatever. But like I said, just the fact that she was there when I got home and we were able to talk and to celebrate and different things of that nature, and that, I was taken care of, food wise and nourishment wise, whatever. So yeah, so like I said, do not feel bad if you cannot go to some of your kids' stuff. And also, if you're not able to go to everything, because honestly, that is going to be near impossible, especially just depending on what your kid is doing and depending on how many kids you have. Just because simply like my life example or my family situation, just pure numbers wise, there's literally no way that me or my wife are able to go to every single basketball game, every single cross country meet, every single track meet, every single soccer game, every single choir practice or choir thing, whatever. Anything else in between, we can't do it. We do a lot. We go to a lot, but especially on cause like prime example, the last couple of years for our kids' school basketball season, we literally could not go to everything because our daughters and our son would play on the same day at the same time in two different locations because boys play away, girls play home. Next week, girls play away, boys play home, and so you know we kind of do what we can do or whatever. But yeah, it's just one of those things where like so we try to go as much as we can. So okay, sorry for all the cuss, y'all. Y'all know how it is, man. My middle son called me. He just got done. Or the football game he went to is over, so I had to go pick him up. But so yeah. So as I was saying about not being able to go to everything, it's okay. Like I said, just wherever I was talking at with the stuff with my kids, whatever. So just because it's like my kids, for example, my older three, they've been doing sports all year round for 9 years. So they were 6 and 5 when they started, and they are now 16. And my daughters will be 15 in a couple months, or next month. Um, so yeah, so there's definitely no way that I have been to every basketball game, every track meet. That happens all year round for 9 years. So it is okay. Like I said, just make sure that they know that you support them, and even ever so often, at least maybe try to find a way to at least go to one ever so often. Whether it be, and it don't even have to be if it's like a big, like a homecoming game or a championship thing, whatever the case may be. But sometimes, even if it's just a random away game or whatever, make things happen. Like I said, even if you can't go all the time, at least try to at least maybe squeeze in one if possible. Like I said, might not be able to happen, but if you can, hey, you know what? I got a little bit of PCO. I'm gonna take off for work today to go to the game or to go to the event or whatever the case may be. So yeah, so like I said, just wanted just to cover that side of the conversation and stuff as well. Uh, and I guess the last thing, just because it's kind of tangentially related, is just kind of talking about. I'm trying to think how to phrase this. Okay, I know what I was about to say. Um, Keeping yourself informed to help inform your kids. And what I mean by that is no matter what it might be, whether it's devices that your kids are using, social media things, or sports that they're involved in or whatever, at least try to look into at least like a little bit of what this thing is. Like I said, that way you can just be informed. I'm not saying, hey, you need to know about every single social media app because, like, example, I have no clue about Snapchat. My wife uses it or whatever, or has used it. I've never had a Snapchat account, so I have no clue much about that or whatever. But I'm aware of it just through growing up the time that I did, and then seeing my wife and different stuff, whatever. But and even TikTok, I'm on TikTok, but you know, I see my kids doing dances and other stuff, whatever they record. But it's just a thing of just being aware and being informed. And that goes across the board. If I see my kids watching something, whether it be a TV show or a YouTube video, whatever, I might at least kind of like, oh, what you watching? Oh, what is that? And it's kind of like poking pride a little bit here and there, just to, for one, just to be aware, but also just for potential safety, because sometimes your kids don't know. They're just like, oh, like example, very, very big example for little kids. So obviously, my 6 year old, he knows Mario, he knows Bluey, he knows all these different characters or whatever. But sometimes, freaking YouTube algorithm or just other stuff, he might be watching clips of SpongeBob, or he might be watching clips of a Bluey TV show or whatever, or a Mario gameplay. And then somewhere along the way, after a few videos, there's some super ultra violent or messed up version of these characters. And he's just like, oh, okay. Oh, look, Mario killed this person. Hey, look at whatever. And so that stuff I don't like. But like I said, that's why I try to like be aware and not just, don't just, oh, here's a tablet, go in your room or go sit in the corner, whatever. Try to be aware of what is going on, what your kids are consuming or getting involved with. And in turn with that, and I can speak on this just from this standpoint, whatever, I have no clue. Of course, we all hope and dream and want the best for our kids, but I have no clue where any of my kids might go with any respective sport or pastime that they enjoy. But me and my wife do everything we can to stay informed and to stay basically to put them in the best place to succeed, regardless of how things might go down the road. And what I mean by that is like prime example. So my three oldest kids, they're in ninth grade, so we're in high school territory now. We still got a few years, 3, 4 years left, before they're out of high school, hopefully, and maybe off to college or whatever the next thing is, or whatever. But just in case, I stay informed on different things going on, of course, in the pro world with sports and stuff, but also in the college level, and that also includes new stuff that just got introduced within the last 4 years, like NIL, name, image, likeness, and things of that nature. Just because, who knows? Like I said, it may never happen, but I want to be prepared for if it does happen. Okay, at least I'm a little bit aware of this stuff, how it might work, at least have like a general idea versus, not caring or not paying attention. And then 4 or 5 years from now, oh, our opportunity comes along. Hey, we want to sign your kid up for this NIL deal with this brand or whatever the case may be, whatever. And I'm just like, who? what is that? What is this thing, whatever. Um, so yeah, so like I said, I try to stay prepared, and I love, and I've talked about this before, but I love listening to different podcasts and interviews and discussions with current professionals, past professionals, um, different things of that nature, just to hear different people's backstories and how they got to where they got to, and also a lot of times these people will share harsh lessons that they had to learn along the way that hopefully, okay, I take knowledge of that to maybe try to help prevent myself, if it's something that might apply to me or to my kids or whatever, take note of their stuff. And so I do kind of want to just finish this part just shouting out a couple of things. One of them I still haven't watched it, but another one I'm like partway through watching, and that is so there is a LSU documentary. Okay, it's a LSU documentary on Amazon Prime called The Money Game that follows four athletes um, from from athletes from LSU. Uh, Angel Reese, Flau'jae Johnson, Jaden Daniels, Livy Doon, I think maybe some other ones, about how the NIL stuff happened and how it changed the game, literally. And so that's one that's on my list to watch. It's about 6 episodes. Yeah, 6 episodes long. And then the other one is called Starting Five. It's on Netflix. And this one follows five NBA athletes. It followed them for a whole year of the 2023 to 24 season or whatever that just ended. And it's LeBron, Jason Tatum, uh, Jimmy Butler, uh, Anthony Edwards, and Sabonis. It follows those five guys, and so you kind of get to see them in all aspects of their life, from obviously the game, but also their home stuff, their traveling, their workout routines and conditioning, and everything in between. And so it's just very um, insightful and entertaining and informative for myself, but also stuff I can show my kids and stuff like that. For just like, hey, if this is a road you want to go down, you can see the work and both the positives and the negatives of this lifestyle or this road that you're trying to go down and stuff. So, but yeah, so like I said, just all that to say, keep yourself as informed as possible with the things your kids and even your spouse and loved ones and stuff are involved in or whatever. Like I said, you don't have to take full interest in the thing or whatever, but just at least get some type of grasp and understanding, because I hope that us being informed might help save our kids or other people from going through BS that I know me and a lot of people from my generation that went through, to where I remember there was a brief period of time. So growing up, so I have a aunt. So one of my mother's brothers, my uncle, married a Philippine lady. Love her, love Aunt Joy. Uh, but so I have four cousins. They have four kids. It was a girl, and two boys, whatever. So we're all around the same age. And I'll never forget when we were younger, there was a phase where my aunt and a lot of people back then or whatever thought that Pokemon was demonic and the root of all evil and whatever the case may be. And so all my cousins' Pokemon stuff, all their games, all their cards, everything between, gone, tossed out, and stuff like that. It was crazy. But there was a lot of stuff like that where even like now, or just over the years, we've seen different things of, you know, people be like, oh my God, Grand Theft Auto is teaching our kids to kill, or prostitution, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, you got to be informed. And I even saw that back in the day when I worked at GameStop or whatever, just like some of like the parents and stuff where they're come to buy a game for little Jimmy, they not even paying attention, like, oh, this is an M-rated game, or what the subject matter of the game is. It is just like, oh, grandma's coming in, little Jimmy wants this game that he put on his Christmas list or whatever. And sometimes we try to help inform, and sometimes people just like, whatever, just give me the thing. But then they come back a day or so later, it's like, what? Why would you sell me this? And it's like, you got to do your research, into this stuff. So, but yeah. So I've been rambling for a bit now. Like I said, I just kind of wanted to touch on a lot of these subjects and topics and stuff that's kind of, like I said, been on my mind for a while. And so I hope that somebody out there took something away from my ramblings and things of that nature. And I hope it all made made some form of sense. But I think I'm gonna wrap things up there. I'm gonna just say things. My life schedule is about to get extra crazy. I talked about it on one of the last couple episodes, whatever. Because basketball season is about to start at the high school, so things are about to kick into high gear. So I am hoping to still continue to put out episodes on a regular cadence, but we shall see. If a week goes by and you don't see nothing from me, whatever, just know, hey, life is life, and your boy Rob is busy. But I think I might even try to do some recordings maybe earlier in the week or on the weekend or whatever, and just kind of set some stuff scheduled for y'all. Because there, like I said, I'm always reading, watching, playing something, whatever, and so there's always stuff to talk about. And so yeah, so just keep me and my family and your thoughts and stuff. Like I said, between the busy schedule going on, there's some other life stuff going on that we're trying to get sorted and figured out or whatever. So, but we will make it through. and I'll have more to talk about, of course. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching and or listening. As always, you can find me everywhere at Dad Needs to Talk. And as I always say, treat yourself to something nice. Uh, well, I'll say that topic for another day. Because I was about to touch on investing in self care stuff, whatever. But I'll say that for another topic for another day. But treat yourself to something nice. Uh, Read some manga, watch some animated TV shows and movies, play some video games, and of course, live your best life. And with that, I am out. Thank y'all so much. And I hope y'all have an awesome day and or week. And I will catch you on the next one. Y'all be easy. Peace.